10 p.m. as I was about to iron my clothes, a strong presence of God came and filled that room. And I looked and I saw a saint appear in my room. And I recognized the saint to be Moses. He said, I've come to talk to you what you must speak in the meeting tonight. So he told me 5 things about the US. Number 1. Now this also concerns the election. Number 1. The nation is at a crossroad. You are at a crossroad. A crossroad meaning a valley of decision. You are at a crossroad, which means you can either tip to the right or tip to the left. You make a wrong decision, you tip to the left. You make the right decision, you will tip to the right. You are at a crossroad. Number 2, they will have to decide if they want God to rule their nation through a leader whom he had chosen, or be led by a woman who is likened to the woman on the beast. You know, till this evening, 6:10, till 6:10 in this evening, I never had anything against Kamala Harris. I'm indifferent to anything, you know. But this word shook me. Now let me repeat again. They will have to decide if they want God to rule their nation through a leader whom he had chosen, or be led by a woman who is likened to the woman on the beast. You find this in Revelation chapter 17, verses 3 to 4, about a woman on the beast. This is not good. Not good. To compare someone to something. Number 3, it is the good pleasure of the Father to give them 4 more good years of prosperity, respite, and joy in the Spirit. It is the good pleasure of the Father to give them 4 more good years of prosperity, respite, and joy in the Spirit. But, number 4, but they can choose the way of the world, to be like all other nations. The choice is still in your hands. You can make a decision after your flesh. When Kamala Harris first was proposed to be, or first nominated as a Democrat candidate, you know, all the black churches decided they will vote for her. All the black churches in the US decided. Why? Not for any other reason. Is that good or bad? Bad. All black churches. The same thing happened when Barack Obama first stood for office. All the black churches voted for him. Even all the Indian churches in the US voted for him. Why? Do you know why? Because he was going to open the doors for their benefit. I spoke at an Indian church in New Jersey. Indian not meaning American Indian, East Indian. And when I told them it's not the will of God for you to vote for Obama, the church leadership rebuked me. Said, how can you say like that? They said, what do you know about USA politics? I said, of course I do not know anything, but I do know the mind of God. That I know. I do not know, till today, I do not know the ins and out of USA politics. I do not know. I don't want to know. I'm here to tell you the mind of God. Period. And all Indian churches voted for him because they believe that their Indians' rice bowl will become larger. And 6 months after, all their bowls began to drop and break. So one more time, this nation is at the crossroad of repeating the same mistake they did in 2008. In 2008, I flew from Baton Rouge to go to Houston, Texas for a meeting. And because of bad weather, the plane had to force land at Austin. And we were at Austin airport, grounded there for an hour. And I was praying. While I was praying was when the Lord told me, Obama Barack will be elected president at that year. I said, Lord, why? Why him? And I think it was Pauline who was standing against him, or someone. John McCain. So I told the Lord, Lord, no, that person is a Christian man. You know what the Lord said? I'm giving them a man after their own heart. You wanted Barack. You wanted Obama. So I'm giving them a man after their own heart. I humbly ask you not to repeat that mistake that you did 16 years ago. Because it is not the will of God. It is not the will of God. Even in the previous election, the Lord had me give the same word. It is the will of God to give you 4 more years of respite. But they have a choice to decide who they wanted. You know, nobody is perfect in this world. Right? Mr. Trump may not be the perfect man. His mouth, you know better, right? Honestly, in the natural, I would not vote for him. Honestly, in the natural. But he's God's chosen. Sometimes you need a character like that to carry out some very strong purposes. Right? Like Nebuchadnezzar was God's man. God used Nebuchadnezzar, his nature, a robust, like a bulldozer nature, to discipline Israel. In the same time, you know, in 1950, when communism came to China, when Mao Zedong became the president, he brought bloodshed to the nation. 50 years of cultural revolution. Millions of Christians were killed. Blood of martyrs flowed in the nation. This is one side. On another side, centuries of superstitious beliefs were kicked out of the nation by the same man. God used that man to kick out, to drive out superstition from China. Tibet, where I had labored for 20 years, there were 6,000 monasteries all over the nation. And when Mao Zedong came, he destroyed all the monasteries except for a few. See? Superstitious beliefs all kicked out of the nation, making the way open for the gospel to come in. So God uses some unrighteous people. You don't know. Maybe loud, robustic, maybe flamboyant with his mouth. That may be his minus characteristics. But he has godly values. You tell me, who in the church is a perfect saint? Nobody, right? So if you are not perfect, why are you blaming that man? Why are you blaming him? In the year 2020, when the election was taking place, I spoke during our online Bible class about voting for Mr. Trump. One of my students' husband, he overheard me making this statement, and he wrote me a long letter rebuking me. Say, what in the world do you know about USA politics? Who gave you the right to talk about asking the people to vote for him? You know how bad he is. And this is a Christian man. And do you know, all the evangelical churches chose not to vote for Mr. Trump. So who brought the downfall? Not the rigging of the voting machine. Mr. Trump is also wrong in that. It's the church. It's the church. Because you chose to vote for the wrong person. King David is a man after God's own heart, right? All agree? Yes. At the same time, he's an adulterer. Worse than that, he schemed and killed an innocent man. Right? Yes. Yet God looks at him and he says, a man after my own heart. Even after all these events. Yes. Why? Those were the deeds of his flesh. But his heart was godly. His heart was towards God. So in the same way, we should never ever judge a person after the flesh. But to ask God, Lord, who